Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Philbert D, and we're locked out for some reason. This is Phil on Films. This week, Kontradiksyon, Because I Love You, and Annabelle Comes Home.
Break na kayo ni Jana?
Hindi po. Yung nakilala kong babae, bombera.
Sus Mario, sa ball dancer?
Hindi po. I mean, firefighter.
No, wag ako. Bakit kailangan ko ba ng facial cream kapag nasa sunog? Hindi naman po, di ba?
David Licauco Israel, the son of a rich family who has just returned from abroad. Shara Diaz is Summer, who followed in the footsteps of her firefighter father. The two randomly run into each other several times, and despite having a girlfriend and Summer already being pursued by one of his friends, Rael can't get the firefighter out of his head. Let's get this all straight. There's a guy who already has a girlfriend, but is courting the affections of another girl. A girl who, by the way, is already being courted by one of his friends. This is not a good guy, but the film plays it like he's some sort of huge prize, mainly through the largesse provided by his inherited wealth. There's this scene right after he learns her name that Rael asks his staff to call up every fire station in Metro Manila to ask if there is a firefighter there named Summer. Now, this is a gross abuse of privilege, and it doesn't even really lead to anything in the plot. It's like the film just wanted to let us know that, like, Rael is the kind of guy who would waste the time of his employees in pursuit of a girl he barely even knows. And what does he find so appealing about Summer? Well, it isn't just that she's a nice person who literally risks her life in service of others. He mentions at one point that it's so refreshing to be with a girl who doesn't diet. In contrast to his model girlfriend, Summer doesn't care about things like expensive stuff or becoming a beauty queen. And of course, Summer isn't the kind of girl to be won over by the trappings of wealth, although the film still has him wooing her with the trappings of his wealth. At one point, he takes her out on a helicopter ride so that she can go watch him play polo. It's so stupid. It's the bougiest thing I've ever seen. So, here's the short review. Yuck. Here's the long review. Yuck. 0 stars.
Mas lalo ko lang nararamdaman kung gaano kaliit at kasikip yung pinanggalingan ko.
Everything you see in here is either haunted, cursed, or has been used in some kind of ritualistic practice. Nothing's a toy. It's safer for these things to be in here than out there. Sometimes it's better to keep the genie in the bottle.
Ed and Lorraine Warren are away, leaving their young daughter Judy, played by McKenna Grace, in the care of teenage babysitter Mary Ellen, played by Madison Eisman. Mary Ellen's friend Daniela, played by Katie Sarif, comes over one day and does some snooping around, hoping to find something in the house with a connection to the other side. In doing so, she unwittingly unleashes the evil doll Annabelle, putting all 3 girls in mortal danger. It's all very mechanical. To some extent, all of the Conjuring movies feel like they're built around mechanics. It feels like they begin by designing the horror set pieces first, and then the screenplay is just about getting the characters to those moments. But I think what separates a good Conjuring movie from a bad one is whether or not it can sustain the dread past the scare. More than once in this movie, it cuts away from the subject of the scare after the scare hits them. It doesn't follow through, making it seem like these ostensibly deadly supernatural threats aren't actually as deadly as they seem to be. Because when we cut back to these characters, they tend to be okay.
What did you do? I let her out.
They're a little shook up, but that seems to be the extent of their injuries. If you're just looking to get startled, the movie has the goods. If you want more from your horror movies, this just feels a little basic.
What else did you touch? Everything.
Here's a pet peeve of mine. I really don't like sequences where there's just a ghost standing in the background and the character can't see them. I mean, what's the ghost doing there? What's it trying to do? Within the logic of the scene, why is it just standing there? Invariably, the answer is that the filmmaker has given up on trying to tell a story and is instead just trying to startle the audience directly. 2 stars.
Ang tao, may karapatan pantao. Kahit adik at pusher pa yan, tao pa rin yan. Ganun lang kasimple yun.
Jake Cuenca is Alexis, a human rights activist who leads an advocacy group opposing extrajudicial killings. One night, a group of thugs breaks into his home and rapes his wife and 2 children. He then vows to himself and his dead family that he's going to kill every person involved in this crime. This takes him down a path that reveals a criminal conspiracy that aims to undermine the government. I think the very first thing to point out about this movie is that it's nearly 2.5 hours long, and that's insane. You really need to have a lot to say to make a film 2.5 hours long. And to be fair, this film has a lot to say. It's just that it's all stuff you've already heard. If you compile everything the Facebook trolls have ever written on Facebook regarding the defense of this president, and you just kind of line them up and assemble them into a screenplay, that's basically this film. I could get into reviewing this thing as a whole, as a piece of art, but that might be giving it too much credit. It's really just one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. As I said in the synopsis, it's about this human rights advocate who is protesting the extrajudicial killings.
Tao pa rin yan!
But then he has a change of heart after some drug addicts break into his home and rape and kill his wife. The way the film plays this out is insane. So the thugs break into his house, and to make sure that we know that they're drug addicts, they do drugs right on his dinner table. They didn't do drugs before. They weren't crazed because of a prior drug interaction. No, they were doing shabu right there. And then so they threaten him and stuff, and they even give him a gun to test his resolve, his anti-EJK thing. They say, hey, come on. Yeah, if you want to defend yourself, do it. But of course he can't, because Jake Cuenca has convictions. And I guess having that conviction is bad. While his wife is being raped, she literally looks up at him and says this line, "Naniniwala ka pa ba sa advokasya mo?" This is the most crass, most terrible thing I've ever seen in a movie. I think without exaggeration. It's delivering a political point in the midst of a depiction of a rape. Right from there, way into the first act of the movie, you already know, oh, this film is going to be reprehensible. What I didn't know was that there was still 2 hours and 15 minutes to go. So strap in. So after this brutal scene, he wakes up naked in a bathroom, and we get to see a lot of Jake Cuenca butt. He is accused of killing his wife, even though it's clear that he didn't. Throughout the movie, later on, there are still people who think he killed his wife, even though it was found that there was clearly many more people in the house than just him. But that's just brought up because, again, this movie is very dumb. He manages to find one of the people who broke into his home. He interrogates him in the rehab facility that was built in Nueva Ecija, because part of the film is really just about showing the accomplishments of the Duterte government. I guess we should be proud of that rehab facility. It looks fine, I guess. There's a chase. It's a stupid chase. This is a very dumb movie. So after that, our hero joins PDEA, but he gets almost immediately thrown out because he messes up an operation involving one of the people who invaded his home. After that, he goes rogue and he goes out on his own, and he gets a lead that there's some sort of drug den behind an internet cafe. He goes to that internet cafe and he overhears somebody giving the password to somebody, and he's like, oh, now I know the password, because apparently this super sophisticated drug syndicate is very, very bad at hiding the fact that they're working out of this internet facility. And then he kills a bunch of people, and that's when he gets hooked up with Jessica, played by Chris Bernal, who I haven't mentioned throughout this review so far, was actually in the first act of the movie as well. Introduced as somebody who dealt drugs to call center agents and like people who party or whatever. That's also partly why this film is so long, because it introduces a completely different character with a completely different story, whose story doesn't intersect with the main characters until about halfway through the movie. And I've even yet to mention that other characters, which are priests, one of whom is played by Lou Veloso, who is very anti-Duterte, and one played by Jojo Alihar, who is very pro-Duterte. Movie really killed my soul. Anyway, to make a very long story short, we find out that the main villain behind this whole thing, the guy who actually running the drug syndicate, is a congressman who is the one just trying to invite the international criminal courts to investigate Duterte. Because of course, the guy that's outwardly trying to defend human rights is actually the guy who is doing the drugs. Because that's been the story of this government all along. After all that, after we get through this ridiculous sequence of events, it turns out that his plan is to seed drugs into the rehab facility so that the drug addicts in the rehab facility go crazy, so that they become zombies, so that they attack the PDEA agents, so that PDEA agents will kill them, so that the ICC has more fodder to show that like the Duterte government is just breaking human rights. It's very, very, very dumb. And after all that, the film has the gall to say, you know what? This subject is complicated. What really matters is that nobody really knows anything. We just need to unite and work together. We can solve the problems of the country if we just stop arguing online. Oh my God. You don't get to say that after saying that the people who care about human rights are all either fools or just like cowardly critics or actually behind drugs. You just don't get to say that. I spent nearly 2.5 hours in a theater, and I can say with certainty that I am 2.5 hours worse as a person. This is the part where I usually give stars, but I don't think this film qualifies even for 0 stars. This film is so dumb, and it is a cancer. I'll give it 5 cancers out of 5.
Hindi lahat ng mabango magsalita ay mabuti at hindi lahat ng nagmumura ay masama.
So we went a little long, we only have time for a couple of questions. Marga Guerrero on YouTube asks, "Hi Phil, where did you get your shirt?" I actually get a lot of t-shirts from distributors as a member of the press. They just give me shirts. I haven't bought a t-shirt in years, I think. Yeah. This technically makes me a compromised critic because I have accepted their gifts. But if you'll notice, I wear a lot of shirts of films I don't even like. So there. Idris Mirflor on Twitter asks, "What's the most annoying thing you experience with people inside a movie theater?" I still find it really appalling that people will, 1, not leave their phones on silent, 2, let it ring, 3, wait some time to pick up their phone, and then after that, answer it, and then speak loudly. Nasa sinehan ako. Pangit nga yung pelikula. I've actually heard that in the middle. I heard an old person answer his phone in the middle of a screening of Suspiria at Rockwell and say loudly to whoever was on the other end that he really didn't like the movie. And, you know, I like film discussion, I guess, but maybe you do it after the movie's done and maybe you don't pick up just don't pick up your phone. Oh my God, don't pick up your phone. So thanks for joining us. This might actually be our last episode here at Pierre's Cellar. We might be moving to a studio next week. You should come visit Pierre's Cellar if you have the time, if you're interested about craft beer, or if you just want to see me because I am an alcoholic and I'm here all the time. Go ask me questions. Like and subscribe, leave a comment, do all the internet things, and until next time, goodbye, internet. Imelda is not a style icon.